Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. It's 12:12 a.m. here in Arizona. Market opens at 6:30 a.m., so we still have a couple hours. But before I head to bed, I actually wanted to talk about a couple stocks that I saw value in and just wanted to break them down. So not all of them are actively trending up, so I want to make sure that you guys understand that. Some of them are still showing signs of a downtrend pattern. The reason that I'm going to talk about them, I'm going to explain to you, why I see value in them, why I'm watching them a little bit closer than watching other stocks. If you've never watched any of my videos, my name is Ricky. I have a little bit over 360,000 followers on YouTube. We're the largest YouTube channel for those who invest in the stock market. If you want to join a free private trading community, we also run the largest one of that. We have a little bit over 160,000 members. It's that third link in the description, and you're more than welcome to check it out if that's something that you would see of value. So I'm going to go ahead and start breaking down these stocks. I usually do these breakdowns on the stocks on a weekly basis, the ones that I see value in. Again, none of these stocks are in any way any stock suggestions. You should never trade based on other people's opinion. It's simply what I'm watching. I want to see if they play out according to plan. It doesn't mean that you have to trade them, especially if you're just getting started. One of the worst things that you can do is actually take a position on a stock that you are very unfamiliar with or do not understand the risk of. So we have a bunch of videos for those that just want to get started. It's under our helpful video playlist. We're not the only YouTube channel that you can learn from. There's so many out there. But if you would like to work with me a little bit on a closer basis, then be sure to click out or check out that first link in the description for the ability to watch me trade live every morning. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform for all those that are going to be asking. And very quickly, for those that don't have time for my breakdowns, here are the stocks that I'm going to be breaking down. DGAZ, TNDM, ticker symbol FE, PG, TRXC, PSTG, SFIX, DDD, CL, NOAA, CY, JDST. Feel free to break them down on your own time if you just can't tune in for the live stream. But I'm going to go in depth and explain to you guys on why I'm watching it. So first of all, DGAZ, obviously a lot of you guys know where I stand with this specific position. DGAZ is still showing signs of a downtrend. How can I identify this? On the 180-day 4-hour chart, the EMA line is still pointing down. It's very oversold. The MACD is showing signs of a potential reversal. I like how oversold the RSI is, but most importantly, one thing that I'm watching very closely right now during extended hours is /NG. /NG has a pattern of pushing up very aggressively and then selling off, bouncing around either the EMA line or a little bit below it, and then it pushes up, pulls back, again, bounces, pushes up, and then it's due for a pullback, right? Or either the EMA line catches up with it after a matter of time. Looking at it at the 1-day, 1-minute chart, you can see that it's kind of really just consolidating at the moment. I have my alerts both for the bottom and the top, and just watching it very closely. So again, why does that matter if natural gas is pushing up? Why does that correlate on over to DGAZ? Well, if natural gas starts to sell off, right, then that means that DGAZ will then start to recover. Obviously, with the shortage of natural gas and looking a little bit more into the fundamentals, it makes sense on why natural gas can continue to uptrend. But again, just doing a little bit more on the technical side, as something continues to push up, it's due for a pullback. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be waiting for, and that's why I wanted to watch DGAZ a little bit closer, as natural gas and UGAZ is a little bit more on the overbought side this specific week, right? So another one that I'm watching very closely is TNDM. There's actually something that I came across today that kind of puts me on edge about TNDM and how I feel about it. So when we first came across TNDM on the 180-day chart, it was showing signs of a very consistent, just volume, uptrend pattern, overall direction was moving up. And it wasn't until it hit highs of $50 that it really started to break this pattern. It sold off, it touched the SMA indicator, which is something that it really has not done in a very long period of time. It pushed up, got very close to that $50 resistance that we talked about before it even touched that price point, especially if you're part of Learn Plan Profit. We talked about why that was a little bit more on the overbought side, and then it sold right back off, and now we're back around that $35, $36 support. And then now we're asking ourselves, we're below the SMA indicator. Did we completely break its pattern? One thing that I would consider you to look a little bit more into is I'm still watching it very closely because, as we know, I mean, the RSI is very oversold. The MACD is very oversold. It's due for a potential reversal, or at least a little pull back up to about that $40 resistance, where it can get rejected by this EMA indicator. I'm not saying a full-on reversal. I'm just saying that, I mean, it's so oversold that it might be due for a push up before it continues to trend down. But one thing that I wanted to show you guys is not necessarily on the 1 year, 1 minute chart, or 1 year, 1 day chart, but actually on the 3 year, 1 week chart. Look at this resistance that it has around the SMA indicator and how it got rejected almost exactly around that $50 price point, and even going a little bit further back. Actually, no, this wasn't where I wanted to go. It was the 3 year, 1 minute chart. It was just showing signs of a descending pattern, and something that we weren't so aware of, especially if you were watching it a little bit closer on the 180-day, maybe the 90-day, or maybe the 20-day chart and stuff like that. So it's just something that I wanted to present to you guys. Yes, I do find it attractive that it's so oversold and all this good stuff again. But just like I talked about in yesterday's video, one of the most important parts of a reversal, if you guys haven't checked it out, is the confirmation. And as of right now, TNDM is in the rejection phase. It's kind of trying to consolidate right on $35, not really, right? And there's definitely no confirmation. So again, 3 stages of a reversal. I believe we're still in the first stage of the rejection, and then we could hopefully see consolidation and then confirmation that follows after. So just wanted to share that with you guys. The one that follows is ticker symbol FE. The reason that I'm talking about this one is it was more to present it as an idea. We talked about this one in our Sunday stock talk. I literally broke down every single stock that was shared within the Learn Plan Profit Discord chat, right? So if you guys go right on over here to the Learn Plan Profit Discord chat, to the I was just under here, the group alerts section. I literally went through every single breakdown within that was shared up until Sunday, right? Every single stock that was shared in the group alerts section. For those that are part of Learn Plan Profit, I broke down every single stock that someone shared leading up to Sunday, right? And one thing that I saw and that I came across was ticker symbol FE. Ticker symbol FE has a very consistent uptrend pattern. Looking at it on top of that on the 1 year chart, very consistent uptrend pattern, right? Looking at it a little bit closer on the 180-day chart, why is it that, okay, ticker symbol FE, so I like to focus on 3 things. So if you gain anything from this video, I hope it's these 3 things. I like to really focus, so although I don't trade it all the time, I like to really focus on 3 things, at least understand 3 things. Understand the direction in which that stock is moving, right? Is this thing showing signs of an uptrend? Is it showing signs of a horizontal pattern, or is it showing signs of a descending pattern? Become aware of the direction of the stock that you are trading. If you're trading something with a very aggressive descending pattern, then maybe, again, it probably would not make the best swing trade. If you see a lot of value in maybe a day trade for a momentum trade, then again, that kind of makes sense if you're up to that level when it comes down to your trading. But again, understand the direction in which the stock that you are trading or about to trade is moving, because that might be a deciding factor if you should hold or just day trade it and solely just day trade it, because you understand its direction. So I like FE. I understand its direction. It's showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. The second thing that I like to make sure is not just its overall direction. So obviously this thing is showing signs of an uptrend pattern, but also it's above the 180-day EMA line. So it's showing signs of, again, the 3 stages of a reversal: rejection, right, consolidation in between 36 and 36.50. And then when it broke above and started making higher highs, we're in the confirmation stage, right? It's showing signs of an uptrend. So I like that. It's showing signs of an uptrend, not just on the 180-day chart, but due to recent patterns, right? So we can do like a 10-day, 30-minute chart, and we can see that it's showing signs of an uptrend. But the last thing that I really like to focus on is, are we getting a good deal? The last thing that when it comes down to investing in anything, just make it as relatable as possible. If I have this iPad, right? For example, this iPad, let's say the retail price is $400, right? And let's say everyone on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist sells this tablet, right, for $300. If you are aware of that, right, because you are aware of like an Apple product, what the retail price is, what people are reselling it for, it's something that we come across every single day. If I'm like, hey, I'll sell it to you for $1,000, would you find that to be a good deal? No, right? Because you're aware of the circumstances, what it's worth, and stuff like that, right? But because stocks are so intangible, right, it becomes very difficult for people to understand, am I getting a good deal or not? Or they don't even ask themselves that question. And one of the things that we do very, I think, nicely within Learn Plan Profit is we remind our traders to make sure that every investment that you take, if it's a car, if it's a house, if it's a stock, that you should focus on getting a good deal. again, keeping it very simple. Understand its direction, understand if it's actively trending up, and then the last thing is, are you getting a good deal? And when it comes down to the breakdown on ticker symbol FB, and the reason that I'm breaking it down is, yes, it is showing signs of an uptrend pattern, and yes, it can continue to move up based on previous patterns, and that's all I could really trade off of as a technical trader. I could see a resistance right around $38. So at the price point at where it's at right now, so right around $36.50, pretty much, right? $36.50 to where it can hit, right, to approximately around $38, the perfect trade, that would be about 1.34%. But if it pulls back and sells back, which it normally does after it peaks out to the SMA indicator, that's a 2.76% loss. Is the opportunity cost worth it? Maybe not, right? Maybe it's a little bit too overextended. Maybe it's not a good deal. Again, next time you take your position, just ask yourself these 3 questions and see if it can better guide you in the right direction. So next one is ticker symbol PG. Ticker symbol PG has been showing signs of a very consistent uptrend pattern. Obviously, this is a huge corporation, and obviously this isn't something that's going to experience huge volatility. I would just also be aware of the earnings report that it's going to be going up. Again, understanding its direction, I like the ascending uptrend pattern. I like that it's also actively trending up above the 180-day EMA line, which we got the confirmation today that it's making higher highs. Now, when it pulls back, is it going to bounce off the EMA line, or is it going to get rejected and come back down to the SMA? That's something that we'll have to wait out for. And the last thing is, ask yourself, are you getting a good deal? Do your technical analysis on the 180-day chart, do your technical analysis on the 20-day, 10-day, 1 day, 1 minute, the 1 year chart. Become familiar with the patterns, become familiar with its direction, and try to have a better understanding if you're getting a good deal within that specific time frame that you plan to trade it. If it normally takes 3 to 5 days for it to complete its margin of, from the rejection phase to when it confirms and completes this entire margin, then again, do the math, calculate what's its current, its recent patterns, and see how long it takes to cover that margin. It looks like it's pretty oversold. It looks like it has a pretty decent margin to cover. It looks like it's already actively trending up. So all we need to make sure that it does is that it continues that pattern, and that's why we could follow with a trailing stop loss or make sure that if there's any break of pattern that we lock in profits or cut losses altogether. So I definitely do like that, and also on the 3-year 1 week chart, I could see that it's showing signs of an uptrend pattern. TRXC. This one was one of the most popular ones within the Learn, Plan, Profit lesson library. It's kind of scary that so many people saw so much value in this one. So I like the ascending uptrend pattern. Again, I understand its direction. Great. It continues to make higher highs. I find that attractive. If you don't, then guess what? You don't have to trade it. The second thing is, it's barely showing signs of a reversal, right? So it's barely breaking above $6. It's barely starting to make higher highs. And this is the scary part. Yes, the MACD is looking good. Yes, the RSI is looking good. But again, if we talk about the 3 stages of a reversal, obviously this was when it was right here to when it hit its lows at around 550. That was in the rejection phase, right? And then it really started to consolidate and hit highs of $6, hit lows of 550. That was its support and resistance. That's the consolidation phase. Now so many people are so quick to jump the gun, right? To go in right away. But again, what if it ends up getting rejected and then goes back down to 550? What if it's still in that consolidation phase? The last thing that I just want to make sure that you ask yourself is, I wanted to cover this because so many people had it in their watch list, is yes, I see why it's in your watch list because it's showing signs of an uptrend pattern. An approach that I would take is the average up approach. If you 100% see a lot of value in this one and you believe in the company and you believe in its overall pattern, one thing that I really like to do is if I get in very early in the confirmation, instead of taking a full-on position, I normally trade with about $15,000 to $30,000. $30,000 usually when I'm fully invested. It wouldn't really make much sense to me to invest $30,000 right now because there's not a continuous uptrend pattern that's proven to me, right? So maybe if I take a $10,000 position and if it breaks another resistance, I can add more to my position. And as it breaks another resistance, I can add more to my position because it's validating that, hey, this thing is making higher highs. Instead of focusing and trying to predict the future and go fully invested right away, to do the average up approach, again, yes, you do have to pay more commission. I've made a video on how either you can get free commission using TD Ameritrade or that you can get your commissions down to around $3.95 to $4.95 per trade. You don't even have to use TD Ameritrade. A lot of people are using Robinhood and so many different brokerages around the world. Again, that was just an option. And if you're asking how do you lower your commission, Google search it, YouTube it. I have a bunch of videos on it, and I hope that it can better guide you in the right direction. So yeah, just wanted to talk about this one very quickly, maybe some questions to ask yourself before you take a position, and the way that I would personally approach it. So this is actually one that I'm probably the most excited about, and I'm going to explain to you guys why. So we're almost halfway there. How are we doing with the questions? Are we pretty good? Yeah, so 100%. So PG, someone said that the PG offers a very small margin. I 100% agree. So it's definitely something, again, it's very consistent, very conservative, and again, with very low risk comes lower reward. It kind of makes sense, right? Kind of same thing with PSTG. This one offers a little bit more margin. So I would call out the resistance to be anywhere from around $28 to $30, 28 to $29. I apologize. One thing that I like to look for is a very common resistance. So although it hit highs of $29 last time, I don't know if it's going to hit highs of $29. So I like to be a little bit more conservative, and I'll draw my resistance line right around that $28 price point. And let's say that it begins to reverse here. So this is originally where I begin to add to my position around $26.30. $26.30 to about $28, that's about 6.5% potential for profit. That's definitely not bad. We could see that it normally bounces. Again, it becomes a little bit more oversold, right? It tends to bounce at or near the SMA indicator. It doesn't mean that it has to, as many times it's sold off far below the SMA indicator. So again, it's just an indicator that it tends to bounce at before. It doesn't mean that it has to. The thing that I find the most attractive about this one is not just on the 180 chart, not just on the 1 year, 1 day chart, but on the 3 year, 1 week chart, it still shows signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. It shows signs of a very consistent uptrend. It was very overbought, sold off, and it tends to bounce again right around this EMA line. That's personally something that I find very attractive. It's very consistent, and again, this is something that I could see myself going in because I know that the pattern has been so consistent for such a long period of time. I could almost reassure myself that maybe going in with a heavier position would be something that I could make sense of, right? If something is not as consistent and it's more difficult for me to predict or identify or make sense of, then it would make sense on maybe then why I wouldn't want to take such an aggressive position on it. So just wanted to explain my thought process. It doesn't mean that you should go heavy on PSTG whatsoever, or that you should even invest in it, but I'm just explaining again my thought process. Forget about the stocks that I'm talking about, but it's the thought process of how I identified a pattern, why it's been so consistent, and because it's been so consistent that I feel that much more comfortable going in a little bit more aggressively, right? And if you've never practiced it before, again, I think one of the best ways to practice this is with obviously paper trading, which is with no monetary risk, and you get to test out and trade every other stock that we get to. And again, if you're going to ask what type of simulation or trading platforms are out there for simulation trading, there's TD Ameritrade, but there's also a bunch of other ones. Feel free to Google it and YouTube it, as there's so many different resources out there. The reason that SFIX is in my watch list is due to the earnings. Had a huge sell-off, a little bit over 35% today, and I feel like it's very oversold. Looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, I feel like this could be maybe even just a day trade, but it's something that I wanted to watch closely. Obviously, higher margins, higher potential for profit, and higher risk as well. So this is something that I probably will not go in too aggressively. The margin for recovery, if I see it for a day trade, can be pretty solid. But again, if I see it performing according to plan, great. I might want to revisit the idea of maybe taking a position for a day trade. And if I see that it doesn't go according to plan and it continues to sell off and I just don't see the risk to be worth it, then guess what? I can simply remove it from my watch list. But I just wanted to explain on why it's in my watch list, had its earnings, had an aggressive sell-off, had a very consistent pattern prior to this, and that's why I personally found it to be attractive myself. And again, I found all these stocks, or I came across all these stocks due to the people that are part of Learn Plan Profit and the information that they share, not only within their direct messages, but as well as in the group alerts. So everyone that's enrolled in Learn Plan Profit, I don't scan for stocks anymore. Again, I just go through the call outs that everyone shares on a weekly basis. At least that's what they're supposed to do, Sunday and Monday, just like I do, right? So ticker symbol DD. So showing signs of an uptrend on the 180-day chart. So again, understanding its overall direction. As of right now, it continues to make lower lows. The EMA line is pointing up. I like that the SMA line is still pointing up. So again, we might get some consolidation right around $17 to $18 based on previous patterns. All I'm waiting for is now the consolidation and the confirmation. As of right now, I see it more in the rejection phase, looking at it at that 1-year chart, it definitely makes sense on why it might have a little bit more margin for it to continue to sell off. And that's why I want to be extremely selective and patient before entering and adding even a little bit to my position, or even taking a position on ticker symbol DDD. But I wanted to do my breakdown on it. I saw value in it because I saw that it was oversold on the RSI. The MACD looks good, but there's no proper indication of a reversal. So just wanted to talk about the stage in which it was at, which is still the rejection phase. Again, I would still like to see the consolidation and then the confirmation of when it starts to make higher highs. Ticker symbol CL, I find this one to be very easy to identify why we have it in our watch list. Showing signs of an uptrend, validating the SMA line as a previous support. I like the MACD, I like the RSI. The RSI can be a little bit lower. I mean, it had a pretty solid green day today. And based on previous patterns, I mean, it continues to make higher highs, but going based off of previous patterns, I would even call, let's just say, like around 68 to 68.50 a resistance, right? And with the current price point in which it's at right now, I wouldn't say that this one would offer the highest margin of profit, but it definitely makes sense when it comes down to the technicals and why we would see value in it. So as of right now, it would be around 1.7 to about 2%, depending on where you buy and where you sell. But again, I would keep a very close eye. We're identifying the SMA as a support. We're identifying the EMA as its overall direction in the way that it's pointing. So if you were to put an arrow at the end of the EMA line, which direction is it pointing? It should be pointing up. At least that's what I like to see before I go on for a full-on swing trade. And then with its overall resistance or sell territory around $68.50 to $69, which would identify that ticker symbol CL to be a little bit more on the overbought side. So it would make sense on why I would want to lock in profits as it approaches, $69 and stuff like that. So ticker symbol NOA, showing signs of a very aggressive ascending uptrend pattern. It's done a really good job validating the EMA line as a support, right? And when looking at it at the 1-day 1-minute chart, it had a pretty aggressive sell-off today, trading between the middle and bottom VWAP. Obviously, you can tell that it's been pulling back ever since it's peaked out at around $10.49. So now we're waiting for one of two things, right? We're either waiting for a break of support or a bounce and it to start making higher highs. So that's why it's on my watch list. I found this one to be pretty attractive. It doesn't mean that I'm going to have to trade it. I find the volume to be a little bit lower than what I'm comfortable with, but I just wanted to see how it performed, and that's why I have it in my active uptrend watch list for the week. Ticker symbol CY. I wanted to ask you guys very quickly if you guys could break this one down with me. I wanted to ask you, for all those that are tuning in live, what stage out of the 3 stages of a reversal, for those that watch that video are familiar with that concept. So again, the rejection, consolidation, and confirmation. What stage do we see ticker symbol CY at right now? So looking at it at the 180-day analysis, it's a very horizontal pattern, being able to identify the low points, the high points, understanding that it's definitely oversold. What phase is it right now? So some people are saying rejection, some people are saying consolidation. I would say, in my eyes, it's making a transition right now from rejection to consolidation. I mean, it's still kind of struggling and it's still bouncing at that same support at the lows of $14. Again, I've found myself to do so much better when I focus so much less on exact price points, but try to have a better understanding of, general support levels, general resistance levels, and stuff like that. And as of right now, I could see that based on previous patterns, it makes sense on why it's approaching this $14.50 to $14 price point. Overall, it's the good deal territory. There's just no confirmation of an uptrend. So I would say that it's, again, in between the rejection and consolidation phase. Definitely not the confirmation, so it wouldn't make much sense to take an active position as of right now. But just wanted to do that breakdown with you guys. And then JDST is the last one that I wanted to talk about. JDST had a very aggressive sell-off today. We did a really good job talking about JNUG and the push that it had up. It covered a majority of its pattern today. So JNUG, for those that aren't familiar with it, is the inverse ETF of JDST. /GC had an amazing day with a really strong push up. But usually when it does this, it tends to peak out and then sell off. And that's why I have JDST on my active watch list. It doesn't mean that I have to trade it. As of right now, it's still getting rejected, but we saw some consolidation happening right around the $70 price point, which it's done before. So I like the MACD. I like the MACD. I like the RSI. And if I see that my alerts start to go off and it starts to show signs of a reversal, just like we did last week, being able to understand that the resistance or the sell range, sell price range, when it becomes a little bit more in the overbought price range, it tends to be around $80 to around $85 based on previous patterns, and usually around 70 to 73 tends to be like better buy deal opportunities, right? But it doesn't mean that it's a good buy right now. It's still selling off, so we're still going to be waiting for the confirmation. So I feel like my breakdown this week might have been a little bit more in depth. I don't know what you guys think, but hopefully, wow, 25 minutes. Hopefully I didn't take too much of your guys' time. I hope that you guys find these videos helpful. When it comes down to views, these videos always do pretty well. They get around like 15 to maybe 25,000 views. But I want to make sure that the content that, you guys like experience within these 20 to 25-minute videos are something that you guys really enjoy, right, and actually learn from. I feel like I explained my 3 rules when it comes down to understanding its direction, showing signs of an uptrend, and focusing that it's a good deal. 3 questions that you could always ask yourself. I feel like that's pretty universal for anything that you invest in, regardless if it's in the stock market or not. I talked about the 3 stages of a reversal, which I think can be very effective. And then also just encouraging you to like paper trade. If you're someone that's just getting started, taking initiative and understanding that, again, this is not a market where you're going to get rich quick. It's going to take time. It's going to actually like make you like actually understand like what you're investing in and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of other people that you can learn from, and 100% like all power to you. I would just be on high alert. If anyone ever tells you like what to trade, what to buy, sells your alerts or something like that, that's something that I would personally see as a red flag or a little bit fishy. Within TechBud Solutions or Learn Plan Profit, us being the largest trading community out there, we've never told one person where to buy, where to sell. We're here to really educate and work with our members every single day. We spend hours responding to messages myself, right? Responding to our direct messages and just making sure that I can do my part when it comes down to like if you have a question about a breakdown or a stock that you see value in, all you have to do is, if you're part of TechBud Solutions, within one of the channels, I'm sure, again, I've explained this multiple times, but not enough people tag me. You can go here if you're part of Learn Plan Profit under the group alerts, right? Resources, group alerts. All you have to do is simply break down your stock in the ticker call out format and tag me. That's all. And if you want someone else's opinion, post it here and then tag them. Same thing with TechBuds, right? This is the free option. So this is for TechBud Solutions. You go down here and you go to watchlist. And all you have to do is, again, post it in this ticker call out format, and you can either tag me or tag whoever it is that you want to hear their breakdown from. And that's really just it. So again, surround yourself with people that motivate you. I don't care if you invest in the stock market. If you're someone that's just struggling to stay motivated and you want to surround yourself with more motivated individuals, I would love to be a part of your success and at least just to communicate with you. We definitely invest in multiple markets. As you guys can be very aware from my YouTube channel, you guys might be seeing also a couple of my cars for those that might be a little bit newer to the channel. These are not cars that I just buy to enjoy. A hobby of ours is buying and reselling cars. We don't just do this with higher end cars. We do this with your everyday drivers and stuff like that. And that's really just it. The first car that I bought and sold was when I first turned 18, and it was a Honda Civic 2012 or 2013. And then my first really cool car that I thought that I bought, enjoyed, and resold was my 2013 Dodge Dart. I don't think I've ever shared that, but for those that follow me on Instagram, the link is down below. You guys can scroll probably far enough back to actually see that car. Then I bought like a Ford Mustang, and I broke even on that one after owning it for a little bit over a year. And again, it's just surround yourself with people that motivate you, understanding that you can be successful in any market. You don't need to be a part of any group or anything like that, but sometimes it's just, at least for myself, it's really encouraging to have people that are always there to motivate you and that are always so like-minded. So again, all the links are down below. First link is if you want to be able to watch me trade live every morning and be a part of the Learn Plan Profit lesson library. Check out that first link in the description, and altogether we'd love to have you as part of the TechBud Solutions family, and that's that third link in the description. But what's going on, Will? I actually shouted out Will, so I don't know if you guys get to see him. But I shouted out Will today. He's part of the Learn Plan Profit lesson library. And one of the things that One of the things that he, I think, has done extremely well within, it even surprises me. People think that I'm extremely consistent with my profits. Obviously, today is not the best example, but one thing that I've seen that Will has done exceptionally well is regardless how much he's up, he's just always locking in profits. And it's one of our key components within LPP that we really try to encourage our traders. But it's, again, and I can say anything to try to encourage our traders to lock in profits, but it's those that take action and that make sense of what it is that we are sharing, information that they're taking in, that end up being successful. So I really want to thank you guys again for your time. I really would appreciate the thumbs up if you guys saw value in this video. If you guys have any suggestions on what I can do better next time, feel free to leave it down in the comment section. And I wish you guys an amazing rest of the week. I hope you guys all end it on a green note. Like always, guys, continue working hard, continue following your dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. So the $300 one-time fee, yep, $300. And again, you don't have to enroll. The reason that obviously for LPP that we charge money is because they get to watch me trade live every single day. And I work with this group a lot. Just a lot closer, right? So it takes time, not only for myself, but my team. If you see value in it, great. If you don't, then guess what? You don't have to enroll. You can still be part of TechBud Solutions or be a part of anybody else's other group. So just wish you guys the best and hope you guys have a great week. Take it easy, team.